Commander Zixthral had conquered 47 worlds in his military career. He had seen species that could breathe fire, creatures with armored hides that deflected plasma bolts, and beings that could teleport short distances. None had ever given him pause. The humans, these soft-skinned bipeds from the third planet of an unremarkable star system, seemed no different. The human female stood in the center of his command deck, surrounded by 24 of his elite Krell warriors. Their chitinous armor gleamed under the violet lights of the warship, weapons trained on the lone figure who had somehow infiltrated their flagship. She wore simple combat fatigues, her dark hair pulled back in a practical knot, her face expressionless. "You have caused considerable damage to my ship." Zixthral clicked through his translator, his 4 eyes studying her with clinical interest. 7 of my crew dead. Propulsion systems damaged. You are skilled, I grant you that. The woman said nothing. Her brown eyes tracked each guard's position with the calm assessment of a predator counting prey. But your impressive run ends here, Zixthral continued, settling his massive frame into his command throne. Disarm her. 2 guards moved forward, their weapons never wavering. The human didn't resist as they patted her down, removing 2 plasma pistols from her hip holsters, a combat knife from her boot, and what appeared to be some kind of explosive device from her vest pocket. They piled the weapons on the deck beside Zixthral's throne like trophies. Anything else? Zixthral asked, a clicking sound emerging from his mandibles that passed for Krell laughter. The woman smiled then, a cold expression that didn't reach her eyes. You could check more thoroughly. Unnecessary. Your hands, human. Raise them where I can see them. She complied slowly, lifting her arms above her head, fingers splayed open. Empty hands. Harmless hands. That's your first mistake, she said quietly. Zixthral felt a prickle of unease ripple through his neural cluster. Something in her tone, in the way she stood completely at ease despite being surrounded and disarmed. He had seen that look before, on prey animals that revealed themselves to actually be predators. Explain, he demanded. You asked me to raise my hands, she said, her voice conversational. But you never asked me to keep them empty. Before any of the guards could react, her fingers moved in a blur. From concealed sheaths built into her forearms, 2 monomolecular wires shot out, nearly invisible in the ship's lighting. She crossed her wrists in a fluid motion, and the wires sang through the air like death made tangible. The 2 nearest guards fell, their heads separating from their bodies so cleanly that for a moment they seemed to still be standing. Then they collapsed. Second mistake, she continued, as if discussing the weather. Her hands moved in a complex pattern, the wires dancing around her like extensions of her will. Another guard fell, then 2 more. You assumed weapons are things we hold. Chaos erupted on the command deck. Guards fired. But she was already moving, using the wires to swing herself toward the ceiling, then launching off a support beam to land behind a cluster of warriors. The monomolecular wires cut through armor like it was paper, through weapons and limbs with equal ease. Zixthral rose from his throne, reaching for his personal sidearm, but she was there first. 1 wire wrapped around his gun hand, drawing blood as it sliced through scales. The weapon clattered to the floor. Third mistake, she said, now standing at his side. 1 wire pressed against his throat so gently it hadn't even broken the skin yet. The remaining guards had frozen, not daring to fire for fear of hitting their commander. You thought taking my guns made me defenseless. What are you? Zixthral rasped. Staff Sergeant Maria Santos, Earth Special Forces 2nd Infiltration Unit, she replied. We're the ones they send when conventional warfare won't work. 1 human against an entire fleet, Zixthral said, trying to keep the fear from his voice. You cannot win. I already have, she said. That device your guards took from my vest? Not an explosive. It's been transmitting the access codes to your ship's security systems to my people for the past 3 minutes. Your fleet's shields will drop in approximately... She glanced at a small device on her wrist. 40 seconds. Zixthral's blood ran cold. Outside the viewports, he could see the distant glimmers of human warships emerging from behind the system's moon. 4th mistake, Santos continued, was invading our colony world. We're territorial. We protect what's ours. The Krell Empire will never surrender to... 5th mistake, she interrupted, her voice hardening. Thinking this is about surrender. This is about sending a message to every species out there watching this war. She leaned closer, her words barely a whisper. Humanity doesn't need to be stronger than you. Doesn't need to be faster. Doesn't need better technology. The ship shuddered as the human fleet's first volley struck home against the now defenseless flagship. We just need to be more creative about killing you than you are about killing us, Santos finished. And we've had millions of years of practice. She released him, stepping back as human boarding pods began attaching to the hull with metallic clangs that echoed through the deck. The wire retracted back into her forearms with a whisper. "You have 5 minutes to order your fleet to stand down, Commander," she said. "Or I show you what other weapons I've been carrying this whole time." Zix Thrall looked at her standing there, surrounded by his dead warriors, his ship compromised, his fleet vulnerable. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something he had only inflicted on others. Fear. He reached for the communication controls. The humans, he realized, had not been conquered in 47 worlds because they were not like any other species. They didn't just adapt to war. They made it an art form. And he had just learned that lesson the hard way.